We have a bunch of new language and literacy items. We're basically taking 2, 3 items and turning them into 6 items. So when you do that, what you're doing basically is giving the scale more power to assess that aspect of child development, or to assess what's related to child development. And you try to go deeper down into what's actually, what it is the kids are getting that makes that difference. So if you just have one item, then you are more likely to put more generic requirements in. But once you try to divide those items up, then suddenly the issue of something like questioning, how do you use questions with little kids, comes up as something that used to just be one indicator, but can actually be turned into one whole item. Encouraging children to actually produce language becomes an item of its own, which is separate from questioning. And so we have talking with children, the simple act of talking with the kids, versus encouraging vocabulary. Because in the original ITERS-3 items, that's all one item, and it's been divided up so that we could dig deeper into what it is that children need from us as adults to be able to help them gain this language ability that has such an effect on what happens to them during the rest of their lives. Then, of course, you want people to respond to children's communication. And part of what responding to children's communication is are you answering them when they're trying to get attention? We've divided up the one item into 2 pieces now, so that it becomes responding, simple responding. Are you responding, for example, to crying or a word a child is trying to say within a reasonable amount of time, and showing that you're trying to understand what the child is saying? I still have problems with this with Rosie, but I try, you know. Or encouraging children to communicate. And then, of course, we divided up the books and pictures item and turned it into books. This should all be real familiar to you from the ITERS-3. And we turned the books and pictures item, or what I think it was using books, into staff use of books with children, you know, my vengeance item again, and then encouraging children's use of books. So you should be familiar with those 2. But this allows us to look in a more intimate sense at how people are using language with children. That's really, really important, because it is so necessary. I mean, when you think about it, I bet all of you interact with children at one time or another, whether you have them or not, whether you have grandchildren or not. I interact with all the kids in Rosie's classroom. They think I'm a teacher because I interact with them so much, and they all come running up to me when I come to pick up Rosie early at, you know, around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And they all come running because they know that if they're having fights with their friends, I'm going to intervene. And you know, if they want to tell me that their mommy's going to come and get them when they go home, I'll have a discussion with that about that with them. And so we know how important language is to children, and you want to make it happen for everybody. And so here what we've done is to try to give the scale so much more power. And it's not just in these items. It is throughout, as Noreen said, it is throughout the whole scale.